If there's one thing that confuses me a lot about Drake is how he keeps finding himself in this type of situation that just embarrass him. I don't even know what it is right now, but just from the title, Drake is getting pathetic now. It just makes me wonder, like, who's your team? Who's advising you, bruh? You, Will Smith. Who's advising you? Your advising board needs to be fired. All of them, every single one. And I'm even thinking your manager too, because how do you guys keep finding yourself in this type of situations that just further ruin your image or destroy your legacy or aura? Like, why? At what point? Like, what's the plan? Is this a humiliation ritual? Because even if it is, this is hella long. You've been on this humiliation ritual for damn near 1 year now, Drake. Will Smith just started his, but he doesn't look like he's slowing down anytime soon. If you guys checked out my last video where he used a fake AI crowd. I don't know what's going on with these celebrities, man. Every day I see more things, even Lil Nas X, that just makes me feel like, damn, maybe I really don't want this fame after all, because if this is fame, I don't want it. That's another video of mine. Make sure you check it out. But yeah, let's get right into the video.
What's poppin', y'all? Yo, Drake got these. He's really pressed because he decided to go for Rob Markman. So, for those of you that may be unfamiliar, Rob Markman has worked within hip hop for 20 plus years. He's been involved in a lot of stuff. The biggest thing that most people know about is his series on Genius. He worked as an advisor for Genius, formerly known as Rap Genius, before it switched to Genius, and it was a lyric site. But in an interview, and this clip was circulating, in an interview and a reel. So the reel was redoing or replaying the interview that he did with Tory Lanez years ago. Tory Lanez has been locked up, and this was for one of the Chicks Tape projects. I think it was it was the project that he got all of the samples cleared from these artists that he loved. He said it was his most expensive project ever, I think, and he didn't really make any money on it. And he asked him to recite a verse. So he starts reciting a Lil Wayne verse. And then Rob Markman's unable to finish the verse, like the last couple of words for the bar. And Drake says, of course this goof Markman couldn't finish the bar. ... Free Tory. So I'm gonna play you guys the clip first.
Some cry wolf. I'm on that dry kush. But when it come to this paper, I stack bucks. You heard what I said? I can put you on your feet or put some money on your head. Life is not cheap. You're better off dead if you can't pay the fee. Shout out a fee. See, every nigga at the door, they'll get a key. Outside looking in. Now tell me what you see. This is about money. This is bigger than me. I told my homie, don't kill him. Bring the nigga to me. Listen, don't miss. You fuck the hitman, kidnapping and make him feel like a kid again.
Kid again. Well,
First off, why is Drake commenting on this? Him letting out a free Tory, we co-sign that over here. Tory's music is just too amazing. It's
Wasn't this unnecessary? Like, wasn't this unnecessary? This is not even a recent video, is it? Like, come on, bro. Of course, this goof. Drake really be one of the biggest artists in the world and be moving like an upcoming artist, bro. He's fiending for attention every single time. And the more attention he tries to grab, he cheapens his presence every single time because he's reducing himself to nothing more than an attention seeking person. And the more, like everything, the more you chase something, the more it eludes you. So chasing attention, eventually people are just going to be dismissing him regardless of what he says. Even not for channels like this that just, they cover it because they get paid for it. A lot of people are just not going to care anymore. Same thing with Kanye, man. I don't know for these dudes, bro.
criminal. It's criminal to have him locked up. Like you gotta get him out. Where's the pardon? No, well, actually, no. I think it was only the governor that could pardon him. But it is what it is anyway. So we mess with the free Tory over here. We're with the free Tory movement. However, Why is he calling Rob Markman a goof? Where does the animosity for Rob Markman come from? Rob Markman has been covering the beef, and he's leaned more towards YouTube and creating content online now, as opposed to more of the traditional like media, getting a job at one of these companies and making content for them. Think of a Zane Lowe and Apple, or an Ebro and Apple.
The future of the job market is moving towards the internet, man. It's moving towards AI and the internet. Like a lot of these television shows really watches TV anymore, to be very honest. They're declining slowly and surely. You know, a lot of these TV shows, a lot of these TV channels, these broadcasts, this media, they're gonna have to start thinking of ways to transition into the social media space, because the new generation of children and even people generally, a lot of them are like, we're getting over TVs, man. In my house, we only use TVs for gaming at this point. I have a few siblings that still watch cartoons, but basically, I'm just saying that generally it's declining. The age of TVs is over, man. People are on their phones, they're on their tablets, they're on their iPads. That's where the money is now.
As well, but also Hot 97. And Elliott Wilson constantly trying to get a new deal with a platform. I think the most recent one is Hip Hop DX. So Rob Markman, he covered the beef, but Rob Markman's always been very fair. I've never seen any other rapper or artist angry at Rob Markman. The guy is, I would say he is the least, one of the least polarizing people on the internet. Now, I would say Zane Lowe is probably one of the least polarizing, but that's because he's got a job with a corporation. But Rob Markman, he covered the beef, and yeah, he said Kendrick Lamar won. That's what I gathered from it, and he was very fair. He talked about the music.
Now, but objectively, Kendrick won. That's why he was at the Super Bowl. That's why he was given 5 Grammys. That's why he won all those BET awards. That's why he's presently on a major, win run with the tour that he's on. Saying Kendrick won isn't against Drake. It's just calling it as it is. Like, do you want people to be delusional just because they like you or support you? Come on, bro. If you won too, you would want people to say you won, but you didn't. You lost, bro. You lost. Why you? Don't do that, man. Don't do that. You lost, bro. Come on.
About the tracks, etc. And him getting under Drake's skin is just bizarre to me. Maybe because they previously had a relationship and Drake expected him to behave like an Aiden Ross or an Academics behaves, which is like, nah, Drake won, or y'all think Drake won. Well, I would say Academics is more critical of Drake than Aiden Ross is. Academics is at least going against Drake's lawsuit, or like he's saying it's interesting, but he's like, yo, this is a sucker move by.
Hi, I'm Albert Kiefer, better known.
About the Onyx game is I've refused to pay for YouTube Premium, mostly because I don't have the dough yet, but I'm pretty sure even if I did, I still wouldn't. Hopefully YouTube doesn't restrict my push just because I said that.
By Drake, this is a whack move, whereas Aiden Ross is just co-signing everything Drake does. Could you say as he should? I would say as he should, because Aiden Ross is not known for opinions on hip-hop, and that's not his brand. So him being on Drake's side when that's his man's, and his job is not to be unbiased about hip-hop topics, that's fine. However, Rob Markman, he goes on to reply, and he gives, I'm not gonna lie, this was funny. One of these Drake stan accounts said this guy gave a full press release for Drake commenting on a clip, which I burst out laughing when that happened. But I'm gonna play you guys Rob Markman's response to this, and then we'll give my thoughts on it.
Hey, yo, what up? Yesterday was an eventful day, so I'm going to give y'all a little bit of the backstory. On Sunday, a Lil Wayne fan page clipped the old 2019 interview I had with Tory Lanez on an old show I used to have on Genius called For the Record. This is back when Tory was promoting Chicks Tape 5. At the end of every episode, I would ask the guests to recite a verse that they love, just to, show that an artist can be a fan of another artist. So Tory goes on to recite Lil Wayne's classic verse from Dedication 2 off the Canon record. And he did it like in a dramatic reading kind of style. It was mad funny. But basically he gets to the end of the verse and he throws the bar to me and I fumbled it. I missed the bar. Yes, I know the verse, but I fumbled, man. He threw the line to me. I dropped it. It was 6 years ago. I don't know what happened, but you got me. Red-handed, you got me. I missed the verse. I screwed up the line. Then Champagne Poppy leaves a comment on IG under the post. Of course, this goof Markman couldn't finish the bar. ... Free Tory. So I'm sitting there like, oh, we got jokes. A little bit of name calling, but we got jokes. I got jokes too. But I got to watch what I say because he might sue. Can't call no names. Just saying. So, but I dropped my response because it's all jokes, right? Then you know what happens after that. It becomes a story. Saying so, but I dropped my response because it's all jokes, right? Then you know what happens after that. It becomes a story. So here's my thing, and anybody who watches me know, I also know there's a lot of new eyeballs on this, but whoever watches me know, I'm not really about disrespect. I may say I don't like a song. I may say I don't like a line. I may say, you won or you lost the battle. I may say I don't agree with the lawsuit, but it's never coming from a place of disrespect. I don't do personal attacks. I don't call anybody out their name. We all here just talking music. We talking hip hop. I just call it like I said. I also keep it all about the music. So
Facts. That's what Drake doesn't get. People are just calling it as they see it, bro. They're just calling it as they see it. Even the people who respect you and are really corner, they probably keep quiet. They're not going to say anything because if they say that you won, they know they're lying. But they're not going to say Kendrick won because they're in your corner. So I think silence, or at least staying out of it for at least your friends and all that, should be respect enough for you. Like, you should appreciate that. And for media personnel, you can't expect them to be delusional or set, bro. You can't expect them to come on their platforms and say basically a lie. Saying you won is a lie because you didn't. Because if you did, you wouldn't be suing now, would you, Drake?
all that abs, braids, family court, all that stuff, like I stay away from it. If it's not like directly involved with the music, I tend to stay away. And I never lied to y'all one time. Y'all may not agree with my opinion, but when it comes to facts, I don't lie. Never lied to y'all. 21 years in this thing, never lied to the people, not once. So here's my thing. I know the storyline is going to attract the new energy, new viewers, just
21 years is crazy. How old are you, G? You've been doing this for 21 years? Damn.
a whole lot of new whatever, right, to what I'm doing. But for me, nothing changes. A great writer once wrote, gotta know yourself. And I know myself, man. After this, I'm not coming on here with no axe to grind or just being disrespectful, because that's not me. But this hip hop thing, this dedication to telling our stories the right way, the best way we can, yeah, that's me. And we all spend a lot of time online, so we know what happens next, right? There's going to be a lot of fan accounts, a lot of bots, a lot of negativity, a bunch of lies spread. I could see some stories being planted and all that. That's just the game today. But you're not going to catch me acting out of character. I know who I am. And to the homie, man, I get it. It's a tough time. It's a crazy time. It's a lot of stuff going on. It's got to suck. I know. This is not the way. But then again, what do I know, right? Peace.
And Rob Markman responds on,
That's crazy. That's crazy. I personally find that a more disrespectful line than if he was actually trying to be disrespectful. Respectfully tells you it's a tough time. I know. I understand. That's crazy. This is not the way, Drake. It's not the way.
under it and says, but if I start calling you names, you gonna sue, laughing emoji. I think that's a good jab back at him, to be fair. I think his response to this was funny, but we gotta get into the Lil Wayne song and bar. Hey, listen, man, Lil Wayne is my favorite rapper. Dog, I'm not reciting anybody's verses off the top of my head. My memory just doesn't work like that. I'm very
I just got back from karaoke and I sang Middle Child beginning to end, word for word, bar for bar, A few rappers I could do that with. I can't think of people, man, but J. Cole is definitely one of my faves. So, yeah.
surprised with people's ability to just recite verses off the top of their head that aren't rappers. Like, if you play me the beat, like let's say you play the song and you play the first word, I'll be able to rap along to the rest of it. I don't know why. My brain just works like that. I have no problem doing that. I'll rap the rest of the entire song. But if you're giving me like a snapshot, like, oh, verse 2, and then you're reading off some bars, I'm not remembering a single word. I probably won't even know what artist said it. I may remember the finishing of the bar, but I probably won't even know who the artist was that dropped that bar or that verse. Sometimes I'll just remember a verse and I won't know who it's from. So I think getting on his back for this is outrageous. And I think it's Drake. Now, this is the thing. Drake is a hip-hop nerd. Not nerd in a negative way or I kind of putting him down, but Drake is really tapped in with a lot of, so like this guy, if he wasn't a rapper, he would be a huge fan, like an encyclopedia of hip hop, really. So I think the reason why Drake responded in this way is, yo, you guys got this guy heralded. This guy's job is to memorize this type of stuff or to know this type of stuff. And then he can't even recite it. I could recite that. I wouldn't be surprised if Drake could recite verses and bars from the majority of rappers that people look up to, especially Lil Wayne. Of course, Lil Wayne signed him. He was a huge Lil Wayne fan. So
See, my problem with Drake is not anything but the fact that he's way too petty, bro. Drake as a think he's a very cool guy. I've never met him, but just off, one-off videos I see of him on the internet, fans running into him or interviews. He seems like a chill dude, like a dude you could just chill out and vibe with. He seems like that kind of dude, but I think he just gets up to way too much petty shit. I think he's way too involved with his niggas women, he's way too involved. Like, you have to be respectful of boundaries. And I think a lot of the reasons why most of these rappers don't mess with him anymore is women, man. Like, I don't think it's anything per se he did against them personally, but simply off some, weird shit that he was moving, talking to their women or, sleeping with their women. Come on, bro. I think Drake is way too about the women, and that's one of the reasons that, and plus he just got complacent in his later years. He just kept making the same type of music, same lyrics on a different beat, but same concept. Either telling us how rich he is, or how many women he's sleeping with, or how he's in his feelings about women that he's sleeping with, even though he's rich. It circles through that whole theme. As compared to his earlier works, which was more diverse, which was more deep, which was more intentional. Everything from Certified Lover Boy was just meh.
I think that's why Drake has not this axe to grind, but why Drake feels insulted that, like, yo, people respect this guy, or he's got this position and he can't even recite this bar. Now, I don't know why he calls him a goof. I do like Rob Markman's response because it's fully within his own character. He's like, yo, I'm not about to turn this into something. I'm just going to keep it pushing. I'm not talking about anything that doesn't have to do with music with you, because there's a lot of stuff surrounding Drake that doesn't have to do with music. So I think Rob Markman handled this with grace. Of course, Drake stans are still going to come at him in whichever way that they want, or whichever way that they think they can latch on to something to criticize him about. But I think this was a fair response from him. It was a funny comment that he replied to, like I don't want to get sued. That's a good one. And that's enough to keep it pushing. I don't know what Drake's issue is with this guy, because Elliot, for instance, Drake has given Elliot interviews, and Elliot's gone back and forth. So if Drake threw this jab at Elliot, I would think it was it's entertaining regardless, but I would think it was justified. But for Rob Markman, I just feel like, why is Drake even addressing it? And this is the thing too. A lot of people, let's say academics included, is saying like, yo, Drake's trying to stay away from hip-hop related media and is just doing all of these other media outlets, namely, not even media outlets, but let's just say like this podcast that he's been teasing that's supposed to come out with Bobby Altoff, and he's avoiding all the other hip-hop stuff. And and some people are saying, yo, all these hip-hop outlets tried to bury him, so he's going to show them that he doesn't need them, and somewhat of a boycott of these platforms. And that's a fine explanation if he didn't attach himself to it. Like, for example, why is he replying to this guy? Or he's not even replying to him. Why is he talking about him if he wants to avoid hip-hop media? So clearly, he has an axe to grind, or at least some bitterness towards Rob Markman. And if he has some bitterness towards him, who knows who else he's got bitterness towards? Because Rob Markman wasn't even going in on him like that throughout the beef. Like, all of these other outlets were grilling him way harder, and perhaps he's trying to seek vengeance on every single one, or take every opportunity to come at them. And this is the split between a Drake and many other artists. I would say there are very few artists that are responding to things about them and criticizing the person that sent them out. Like, Offset isn't really doing this. I don't know why Offset's the first person that came to mind. It's probably because I was thinking of a video that I was going to do on him. But who else? Like, Big Sean isn't doing this. I don't know why I named Big Sean, but I'm naming people that are way smaller than Drake that aren't replying to things like this. But Drake is. And he can't say that he's not pressed about it. I do.
Yeah, like once you reply, you can't say you're not pressed because you were pressed enough to enter the comment section. You see, he's just giving off too many F's right now and trying to pretend that he doesn't care, but he's spiraling, and the whole internet, the whole world is seeing him do this in real time. So it's very hard for him to come out and say, "Oh, I don't care, I'm really living my best life regardless." But you are in everybody's comment section that remotely or even not even has anything to do with you. You're just everywhere, bro. You're everywhere. That's the problem. You've always been everywhere, but at least you were everywhere in your music. You were delivering music. And yeah, that was okay. It was still too much, but fine. That's your job. But now you're everywhere, even places that you don't even need to be, bruh. You're diluting your presence, you're diluting your aura, you're diluting your star power simply because people are tired of seeing your face. Like every single where we turn, you're there. In streaming, you're there. Controversy, you're there. Music, you're there. Law, you're there. Court, you're there. Family drama, you're there. Like, bro, you're everywhere, man. It's really do you good to just chill for like a year. Like, just go radio silence. Nobody hears from Drake, no song, nothing. 1 year. Go stay in the Bahamas. Do something, man. Just do something in 1 year. Let the world kind of like miss you. Come back and drop a banger, drop an album that smashes records. And it's like, nobody's going to forget about the beef and the way you lost. That's never going to be, it's never leaving your career. That's a permanent stain. But for the most part, people are just gonna, move on with you, especially your core fan base. They're just gonna be like, all right, whatever. The beef is in the past. Drake is back. He's giving us, summer anthems, shit like that. But yeah, thank you guys for watching this video. Yeah, that's all I have to say. Catch you in the next video. Peace.